Welcome to the Georg Rockall-Schmidt Show. Today we're talking about Super Mario Brothers from 1993. Damien, which one are you? Mario or Luigi Mario?
Luigi Mario.
Obviously Toad.
Already being
Toad
pushed
the Chode.
down. Toad the Chode. Oh, man. You can always tell
You
a
know
Chode, man.
that's unheard of. Why Luigi?
I wouldn't put myself on the same level as Bob Hoskins. Maybe John Leguizamo. I don't have too much of a high opinion of, but Bob Hoskins, oh.
Well, Bob Hoskins was never in John Wick.
Oh.
So
was Leguizamo in John Wick?
yeah, he was the car man.
Oh, I can't
The
remember.
man who's like, I'm not going to touch that car. That car belongs to John Wick. Like, oh, that's John Leguizamo who played Luigi Mario. That's how it went, innit?
Yeah, exactly how it went. I imagine so. Anyway, I remember sleeping through that movie. It was a painful watch. My body went into shutdown. I couldn't stomach it.
I mean, most people are going to be horrified when they realise that you're talking about John Wick and not the Super Mario Brothers movie.
So that's like, in defense of Mario. It's not John Wick.
We're not saying it's better than John Wick. It's just not John Wick. Far less deaths.
We're being completely objective here. We're simply stating that this movie is not John Wick. It's up to you to interpret that as you may.
Super Mario Brothers, not Jurassic Park.
Though there is a dinosaur.
Super Mario Brothers, not Schindler's List.
Super Mario Brothers, not Sophie's Choice.
So Super Mario Brothers, I heard Matt Pat call it one of the worst films ever made. Now, we've seen Super Mario Brothers at least once, all the way through.
Yes.
I think more than that. I've definitely seen certain clips of Super Mario Brothers many, many times.
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen some of that stuff like ad nauseum. I definitely know I watched it as a kid.
Really, you watched the movie as a kid? I didn't watch
Yeah.
it until I was like 20-something.
No, I don't know. I can't tell if I saw it at the cinema or not, but I know at the time I was big into playing Super Mario World, and I think when that movie came out, I feel like it was like my nan and my aunties was like, this would be perfect for Damien. And I can't remember, yeah, I remember
Damien's been really bad this week.
Yeah, I feel like I must have watched it on TV rather than at the cinema, but I was definitely very young. I had quite a fleeting memory of it. What I remember we watched a few years back when we first revisited it, was all kind of fresh to me.
Yeah. Is it as bad as people say, do you think?
I think it's a bad rap simply because of the subject material. I think we had this conversation a long time ago, but if you didn't have Mario pasted all over it, I don't think people would have. I think it would have been a movie that would have been very forgettable, but I don't think it would have, taken anywhere near as much flack as it does, as it continues to.
It's like one of those movies that like one student would come in to like their shared kind of apartment. The other student's like half naked on the sofa, eating beans out of a can and also off themselves, watching, like reruns of Diagnosis Murder. And the student that's come in is like, hey, guess what I've just picked up? This old VHS of this movie no one's ever heard of. It's called The Super Duper Brothers.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as people say. I'm not saying it's at all a good movie. However, I have watched a lot of movies which are nowhere near as enjoyable as this. And I've watched better movies which I wouldn't watch again. Mm-hmm. But I would watch Super Mario Brothers again because it's fun.
Yeah, I do remember quite enjoying it. And I kind of feel like I'll get a lot of flack for saying that. But no, I don't know, it's watchable as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I think it's completely outrageous to say it's one of the worst films ever made.
There's no way. I mean, considering like Bob Hoskins is quite I wouldn't say a heavy hitter, but they didn't get the cast is good. They didn't get crap in at all.
Oh yeah, Bob Hoskins is a legitimately, I think, was a legitimately amazing actor.
Yeah, and lest we forget Dennis Hopper as well. I mean,
right.
Granted, I kind of feel like he was definitely phoning it in. I don't think you couldn't when you looked at the script and his makeup, but it's still Dennis Hopper. I mean, fucking hell.
Fresh from the set of Blue Velvet.
You can still see it in his pupils.
So apparently, what was happening on the set was they were rewriting the script so often, the actors started to ignore the rewrites or to ignore the kind of daily changes, because they would change and then they would change back and things like that. So I kind of get the impression it was a deeply flawed movie. Like, I've heard stories about Mario and Luigi drinking whiskey on set, because I'm not going to call them by their actors' names anymore, by their slave names. I'm going to call them by their liberated plumber names. Yeah, and I think it was probably a very troubled production. It was the first film based on video games, and I think probably, as it is kind of still the case now, the executives behind it didn't really have a clue.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, video games were by no means like the fucking billion-dollar industry it is now. It was kind of...
No, but really... Can you imagine if you were the head screenwriter, if you were the guy who just did the story or whatever, can you imagine if someone came in and said, "Have you ever played Mario?" You would know that the next thing they're going to say is, "Can you make a script of it?" I mean, how do you adapt that video game into a movie?
Well, I mean, I think they did. They had a pretty fair shake of it, in all fairness.
Yeah.
If they, I guess, the pitch would have been like, it's obviously a very lucrative market and such and such and such. But there must have been a meeting where there must have been an executive who didn't really understand what it was, and they had to wheel in, a TV, boot it up, and fucking at least march through the first couple of levels and show him what it's all about. And he's like, okay, okay. So what the fuck do we do with this?
Yeah.
All I've noticed, it's got bright colours. So I don't know. We'll set it underground or something. Yeah,
I mean, I kind of think I agree with you. I think that the movie isn't a terrible adaptation in that they got a lot of the elements in there, and what could they do? But also, it's kind of like they could have made that movie without playing the game at all, or even seeing the game, and just reading 100-word synopsis of the game. Like, okay, Mario's a plumber, Princess Peach, okay, right. Some reptilian element, some mushrooms. Yeah, that's it.
All right, we're not going to go with mushrooms. That's too iconic. We don't want it to be too on the nose. What we can go with? Fungus.
Fungus. Trust the fungus. We're not going to go with mushrooms. That's too iconic. We're going to go with syphilis.
We're going to go with yeast infections.
Oh dear. So obviously they never made a sequel because the film cost around $42 million, and in the US it made about $20 million. So I don't know what the kind of global totals were, and I mean, I don't imagine it made a lot from video sales, but it pretty much flopped.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
So that's why it wasn't made. But that's why a sequel wasn't made. But if a sequel was made, what could that have been?
I think that's what we're about to explore this evening.
Do you think if Bob Hoskins, if Bobby Dazzler Hoskins hadn't died, do you think they'd be looking now at doing a sequel? Seriously, do you think we did The Mummy, we've done Blade Runner 2049, we've bastardized RoboCop, fuck it.
What was the other last great franchise from the late 80s, early 90s?
one outing of Super Mario Bros.
I fucking got it! Mario! My God, man, that's the... Yes! Oh, I don't know. What do you reckon that movie could have been?
What, Super Mario Brothers 2?
Yeah.
Well, I think, going through Nintendo, it's got to be Smash Bros. The intro's got to be Bob Hoskins, on a platform which is tilting everywhere, snapping Solid Snake's neck.
Fair enough. I'd get down for seeing that. Easy.
Yeah. I do have some ideas. Do you want to go into these straight away or what?
Yeah, let's go straight into it.
Okay, so a natural sequel. It's just the same film again, but with more levels. Maybe Bob Hoskins could smash someone's face in with a bowling ball.
Okay, well, what's the bowling ball link? Is that just freshen it up a little bit?
When Super Mario eats the rose thing, he gets the bowling ball, remember? all right, okay. I've got a bit of a longer one, not very long. What if Mario sees the world like a video game where he must overcome a number of arbitrary obstacles to catch his princess? But slowly he comes to realise the romantic world is much more nuanced than that, and that he's been stalking a colleague.
So it's kind of like a sort of Shutter Island type deal where, it's all kind of in his head and around him are just like an elaborate set of players. Kind of
It's a
indulging in
Shutter
his
Island sort of thing. But much,
more credible.
much more banal. Yeah. He basically realizes, and then he apologizes to her, and she has a hard time forgiving him. But then, like, he transfers departments, and he doesn't see her as much, and it's okay.
Right. Okay. Is this like the breadth of the movie, or is there like is the?
Oh no, I envision it as 3 movies.
Oh right. Okay. So a real epic then. This is a real exploration of the human experience.
The first movie he stalks her, the second movie he picks his teeth, and the third movie he figures out he's been stalking her and stops.
He picks his fucking teeth.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
All right, how about this one? Luigi sells loads of hallucinogens and buys a mansion. There never was a Mario. It's like Fight Club, but with more dinosaurs.
I mean, that's the poster. It has to be that just on that tagline. It's like Fight Club, but with more dinosaurs. I love the implication that there were dinosaurs in Fight Club to begin with.
And brackets, less Helena Bonham Carter.
So what happens is there's no real interest in this movie. The poster does go viral online. It's just there's a resurgence in Fight Club because everyone is adamant. It's adamant there are no... Yeah. We just... there has to be an insistence that it's there as a sort of Easter egg.
Okay. Do you have any other ideas? Any ideas? I mean, any ideas at all, Damien?
Yes, I kind of thought it should continue on from the first movie in that right at the end of the movie when they kind of, Mario, Luigi, all the players return to the surface world. Koopa's there. He kind of does this dramatic kind of reveal with his kind of, was it Nintendo light gun, which turns people into, I don't know, lizards or something.
Into bastards.
Yeah, into bastards.
Into bastards.
Into bastardos.
Into busted. It turns them into Blazing Squad.
Yes, yeah. Ashley Banjo.
What the fuck is Ashley Banjo?
I don't know. I think he was in a person. Yeah, it's a person. He was in like a sort of like a dance hip hop crew, like fucking Blazing Squad, but just like 10 years later or something.
I think we might have revealed our age by mentioning Blazing Squad. No one knows who the fuck Blazing Squad
is. And our
is.
ethnicity. Well,
muy blanco.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So at the end of the movie, when Bob Hoskins is bearing down the barrel of this light gun, in a moment of panic, he looks to defend himself by grabbing a mushroom as this light gun is fired. I think what they don't reveal in that moment, and which is what they reveal in the first few minutes of the sequel, is that upon that, this mushroom releases loads of spores, right?
Okay, I like this.
It completely, Bob Hoskins is just completely fucking fetid with it. And I reckon that the second Super Mario Brothers is kind of like this Cronenberg-esque kind of body horror, where every day Mario, he completely forgets about this underworld. He simply gets back to his job, kind of grinding away. But every day he's finding these like flakes on his skin. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I don't know what his name is, but like the Tree Man. There's a guy who's got this bizarre skin condition, right? And he's kind of...
Oh, yeah, in Fallout 3.
No, I think...
No, I know you... No,
fuck
I'm joking, sorry.
But his skin, like, it turns to this almost kind of like tree bark type thing. And I reckon this is what's happening to Mario slowly but surely. And he's kind of assuming the role of fucking Jeff Goldblum in this picture. With that, he slowly becomes more sedentary. He no longer can use his legs. He becomes overcome by this thing. He's becoming, giant plant life, essentially. He assumes the role of the king in the previous movie, Lance Henriksen. Sure. And then second,
God, I forgot he was in this.
Yeah, no, for like fucking 5 seconds as well. I mean, how they fucking pitched that to him, I do not know.
Well, he was in Alien 2. He was in Alien 3.
He was in Pumpkinhead, bitch.
He was in Pumpkinhead 2, wasn't he?
Was it 2? I thought it was the first one.
I think Pumpkinhead. Maybe. Yes.
I don't think.
Maybe.
Did we watch the second one? I can't remember.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So he was in Pumpkinhead 1.
Right. Okay.
Directed by Stan Winston in his directorial debut.
I think I remember you mentioning that in your one of your videos.
Yes, in the Stan Winston video. You can find it now on Amazon and at HMV and all other good shops. Does HMV even exist anymore? You can find it in Aldi.
Woolworths. Yeah, so he's grown into this throne, right? He's becoming more plant than man. The next...
he's megafauna.
Yes, yeah. He's very reminiscent of the fungus that Lance Henriksen himself was before he reverted back to human form for whatever inexplicable reason.
So when people look at the megaflora that is Mario, they're like, this is very bishopy.
We can always get a lot of that kind of weird alien jizz blood that Bishop had thrown in there.
We can always get a lot of that. That's very. Don't worry. That's very easy to get your hands on. This is Hollywood, baby.
Just Google it. I dare you. So yes, his body is growing up the walls, and it's about Mario's consciousness leaving his human body and becoming, the fungus that consumes this kingdom. You can now see, hear, and think in and amongst the entire city. For this part, should maybe get in a guest director. I'm thinking Gaspar Noé. Then we can have he can kind of mock up something like the DMT dream sequence or something like Mario letting go of what it means to be human and transcending to the next spiritual plane. That's what I reckon.
This is like a mega trip.
Yes, yeah.
And maybe to give it that extra weight, to really kind of hammer this home that this isn't just a movie that you can get stoned to. This is a deep, meaningful thing. It can start with that famous quote from Nietzsche. If you eat a lot of mushrooms, you become a lot of mushrooms.
I really thought you were going to hit me with something a little bit more highbrow than that, but I'm not.
Why would
upset.
you think that?
I'm not upset that you didn't. You eat a lot of mushrooms. You become a lot of mushroom. What is that?
It's truth, my friend.
The spores from this mushroom, rather than infect Mario and turn him into this living monster, he could have just sprouted up new breeds of wild mushrooms all over New York City, to which,
which directly influences the mayoral campaign of Rudy Giuliani.
No, I was going to say that, they become... Mario and Luigi, retire from plumbing, work more in agriculture, and with their produce, they open up a small restaurant.
Oh, no.
Sorry, this was really cheap.
My turn. Mario Co. is a family business where Mario and Luigi unclog shit-filled toilets with smiles on their faces. All is well in the world until Cooper Inc. comes to town and sucks up all the plumbing business. Can the Mario brothers win back the townspeople? And can Mario seduce Mrs. Peaches? Or will everything turn to shit? I envision this will be kind of like Mooseport, but slightly worse.
I think you might... Is Mooseport that well known? Do we have to kind of clarify what that is, or do we just...
I'm pretty sure that people who listen to this podcast, they know about movies. They'll know about Mooseport. Mooseport is a must-watch.
Cinema gold.
I mean, it's important. It's important in cinema history. Mooseport is one of those fucking films that is so dull, I couldn't even take the piss out of it.
I can't remember much from it other than Everybody Loves Raymond and Gene Hackman.
That should never have happened, should it?
No, not
It should have
all.
been like Gene Hackman should have been on set, and he's like, yeah, well, the script is a bit kind of meh, but yeah, I thought I'd do it on my day off. And then as soon as fucking Everyone Loves Raymond comes on, Gene Hackman should have just spat on the floor and left. Okay, how about this one? A cross between Mario and Terry Gilliam's Brazil, which Mario was in as a plumber. No, as an electrician, right? Mario and Luigi end up doing plumbing in a dystopian surveillance state. Luigi disappears one day, or is disappeared one day, and Mario fights the incredible bureaucracy of the state to find him, but to no avail. Mario ends up in the sewers, certain Luigi is down there. He finds Yoshi and Toadstool and goes on a fantastic adventure. The reveal at the end is that Mario only made it to the sewers and is now strapped to a chair in a cooling tower being tortured by Michael Palin.
That
it isn't. Yeah.
That is superb. But
it isn't Michael Palin playing a character. It is Michael Palin. He is a very nice man.
He really hates himself. Michael Palin is in tears. They made me do this.
I remember there's an episode of whichever series he did. He did lots of series where he travelled. For anyone who doesn't know, he did lots of series where he travelled around the world and he spent time in certain locations. There was one where he spent a few days in Istanbul. This was like in the 80s, so I'm sure no one's seen this. But there was this like Turkish guy, this kind of like teenager, who came up to him and said, "Oh, you are filming, in kind of fairly good English, but not, Turkish English." And he says, "Do you want some hashish?" And Michael Palin's like, "Oh, you naughty man!" And I just want to find that. I need to hear him say that again. Okay, let's have another idea.
Again, starting with the end of the first movie, they travel back to the above world.
Middle Ages.
Ages.
Sorry, above world.
And the film resolves as it does before, but this time when they come through with Yoshi. Oh, sorry.
But Yoshi is like short round now.
With a horrible accent and a silly baseball cap.
Yeah. And like clogs on his feet so he can reach the pedals of the car. Do you remember that?
Yeah, no, I do, but I mean, I kind of want to see what's the situation in the movie currently.
And the situation is Yoshi is a Vietnamese prostitute who wears platform heels.
Superb. No, I think they travel back to the.
Oh, you English? Oh, like Jim Bond.
You're not letting this one go, are you?
Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, don't, because as soon as I start talking, I know it's going to come back. I can hear you sniggering away. You're primed and ready.
I promise I'll let you speak.
Oh, sure. All right, so they go back to the upper world at the end of the movie. They travel back with Yoshi this time. The authorities there, the U.S. authorities there, at the scene of this crisis, they discover Yoshi. Everyone else returns to their normal lives. They capture Yoshi for the sake of medical experimentation. In line with a lot of criticisms of the movie, that it doesn't really share much it doesn't have much in common with the games, really. I think when they capture Yoshi, they kind of explore a mechanic in the game in this movie. And this mechanic I'm talking about is every time that Yoshi eats something, he shits an egg.
He shits an egg.
Yeah.
He shits an egg. That's what people do. She
When
can't
they
come
think
into
of
work today.
Mario-
She just shat a baby.
Right, so I think the movie is basically Mario and Luigi catch wind of this, and they have to rescue Yoshi from the U.S. forces, who are now drunk on the idea of
Infinite
dinosaurs.
eggs.
Yeah, infinite
Okay.
eggs, obviously, and the dinosaurs that hatch therein, and the military application there.
Do you know how many pounds a dinosaur can carry upstairs? It changes everything, Damien. Everything.
Yeah,
They're not
when I say
combat troops, no.
yeah. When I say military, they're not combat purposes at all. It's all like it's load bearing.
Yeah. Do you know how many tins of beans we can put on a saddlebag on a fucking dinosaur? Do you know how many belts of ammunition we can put around a Yoshi's neck?
All this and more will be explored in Super Mario Brothers 2 coming this summer.
It's just a very straightforward presentation of the military applications of a Yoshi.
Of a small dinosaur.
A small dinosaur.
Um,
So they've got to go against the US military to stop the breeding of Yoshi.
I mean, I hadn't really thought on just how that's going to go down, because it does sound a little bit far-fetched now that I say it. But the scene that I did see is when they do discover Yoshi in the warehouse. He's obviously, kind of all limbs akimbo, kind of suspended with like a feeding tube down his throat, and he's like 800 pounds, just constantly shooting these eggs out like a sort of ant queen.
Laying these eggs. He doesn't shit eggs.
Did I say shit?
You only shit an egg if you eat an egg.
Laying these eggs, all right. All I saw was this, the horrific realization that they were way too late, and everything that Yoshi, this beloved character, has become. They see no recourse but to put him out of his misery.
Yeah, good thing that Mario brought that 44 Magnum.
Well, I seem to remember in in the movie, he kind of goes around with like a massive fuck off monkey wrench. I mean, you could really cave someone's skull in with that.
You could. This is my dinosaur killing range.
Oh, I tell you, no. So right, they find him in this hangar, and there are all these eggs, right? And we can go cross-dimensional here, right?
Oh no, you're not going to say alien, are you?
Oh, I am. I'm going to say, but we'll keep it subtle, right? So this
and
would be like the final.
One of the
shot
eggs hatches, and a little Gordon Ramsay pops out.
Oh, fucking hell! That is just
And
that
it's burnt! Kill it!
You have just shot my nuts off, sir. I've got nothing left to say to that. Fucking
Is
hell.
that what you're going to say? I knew when you mentioned the word egg that Gordon Ramsay was going to appear in this.
Because eggs is food, no? Food means restaurant. Restaurant means Ramsay.
I think we should just skip this. I think we should make it like a whatever the phrase is, a compound equation, and just say eggs equals Ramsay. What was I going to say? Yes, you mentioned that people were pissed off that it wasn't like the video game, which I think is absurd anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got here something. So with those complaints in mind, what if the second film was just voiceover acting with playthrough on screen? It's just Bob Hoskins saying, "Oh, got to jump over here. Oh, a mushroom. Gonna jump on this turtle. Coins, coins, coins. This flower makes me hard." That's all the movie is. All it is just a playthrough.
Like, there's no death in it at all. It's like exquisitely well done, I suppose.
No. There's loads of death. It's very amateur.
All right, so we see the startup screen several times, right?
For most of it, most of the audio is just two people having a conversation slightly off mic about like a football game that obviously happened kind of like a year and a half previous to the audience seeing it. Because this still went through post-production. It still took 24 weeks to get edited.
Should be an off-mic conversation about how the making of this movie is a huge tax break for one of the producers. Like, he is like hired loads of...
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because I was thinking Super Mario Brothers 2 should be directed by Uli Lommel. And then I put that name down, and then I thought, it's not Uli Lommel. What I mean is Uwe Boll.
Uwe Boll. Sorry, what? Uli Lommel.
Uli Lommel did that film where that zombie film we watched where that guy gets his dick bitten off, and you can see the lights in every set, every shot. You can see like light stands and stuff. Do you remember?
I think I remember like dick biting. Do you remember
Okay.
the name?
I think it was Zombie Nation. Let me just find it though. Yeah, it was Zombie Nation, which I assume has nothing to do with the Ken Caraft song.
Anyway, yeah. So Uwe Boll's directing this movie. Yes.
I guess so. I mean, I think Uwe Boll should direct Super Mario Brothers 2, Sonic.
And then Super Mario Brothers 3, Sonic 2, Crash Bandicoot.
You miserable bandicoot! If Neocortex was Indian. Why was there never a Sonic film?
I don't know. I figured since it's a great big blue hedgehog, it's going to be a little bit hard to put on the screen. Then I suppose, Mario and Luigi were, which at their core were two people.
Well, yes, I suppose that is the answer. Have you ever seen the film Spike?
Spike? No, I haven't. What's that?
It's about a human hedgehog. It's
No.
weird.
Oh,
It's
really?
kind of like a Beauty and the Beast story, yeah.
Right. Okay. No,
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
When was that made?
I think off the top of my head, 2008. Let me have a look.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's worth watching, I guess.
So if we rehash
So
this
Super Mario
movie, and this guy can run really fast, that's how we make this movie.
I think Sonic should just be like a track and field star who wears a blue jacket.
Like Mario had nothing to do with Mario, so Sonic's going to have nothing to do with Sonic.
Yeah, this is the whole point of making these movies. It's to say that, yeah, we looked at the game and we talked to the developers and we decided that they're fucking idiots and we just did what we wanted. Okay, last question and then we'll call it a day. Why didn't they make them Italian? Because Mario definitely had an Italian voice.
Yes, yeah. Well, I think they kind of warped that into Italian American. No, that's why they're Brooklyn Prommers. That's why they're Brooklyn. I can't fucking say it. Brooklyn plumbers. Fucking hell.
They didn't really need to be in Brooklyn, did they? I wonder what sort of film it would be like if it was exactly the same, but it was Mario and Luigi, and the first
In
kind
Devon.
of 20 minutes they're walking. No, they're walking around Verona.
I mean, I suppose it'd be a lot more lush movie. I guess maybe if it was in Venice, you kind of maybe you could try and rationalize like pipes everywhere that they're jumping into to go underground.
Yeah, I don't think it's one of those films you can really rationalize. Dare I say? The dude is called fucking Mario.
Oh yes, yeah, that's one of the most bizarre pieces of information they tried to crowbar into this movie, because that's not like, dare I say, canon with the games at all. That's their script. They thought that was an idea that needed to be in this.
He should have had a more realistic name like Mario Donatella.
Mario Raphael.
Mario Raphael.
There's like 6
Mario
Marios.
Da Vinci. Maybe they could have easily done a cross between Super Mario Brothers and Super Ninja Mutant Bastards. What's that called? What's that movie called? What's that?
You got it right.
TV
You
series
got it right.
I got
Super
it right.
Ninja Mutant Bastards.
Karate Terrapins. But they're like in this universe they're bad. Like it could be kind of like a, they're hypnotized or something, so they're not bad, but they're acting bad. And Mario works out that all you need to do is jump on them.
Yeah, because it snaps their fucking necks. That's why instant death.
No, he jumps on them, so they end up on their shell, like rolling around. That's when Luigi comes in with a fucking sledgehammer.
Like the entire soundtrack is Biggie Smalls. He's
Like
just curb stomping these motherfuckers.
The first 10 minutes, the only line that's spoken is Luigi screaming, "Let's make some turtle soup!" And then it's just screaming. These Karate Terrapins do not stand a chance. Well, that's it. That's all the Mario chat we're going to be doing. Next time, because it is the Halloweeneth, we're going to be talking about Halloweenifying kids' movies. That's right. That's the adjective I'm looking for, isn't it, Damien?
Yeah, it's a word.
It's a word. It's not a word.
It's a word.
Do you want to say something? Like goodbye?
Yeah, thanks for listening. Yeah, goodbye.
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 Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen.